Thank you. Right, over to you, Alex. Tell us all about it. Thank you.
So, hi guys. Just if you don't know who I am, my name's Alex Hall. I am the executive chef for Unilever away from home here in the UK and Ireland. And also I'm a Fair Kitchens ambassador. Fair Kitchens is a movement that was started a few years back over in America to help improve the standards of kitchen life. Now, we all know that chefs work incredibly hard, and there's this difficult work-life balance and the stress and the anxiety, being tired. We wanted to start working to sort of seek out solutions to help improve the well-being of chefs and really make the industry an attractive place to work. And in America at that time, there was the Me Too movement going on, which is incredibly important. That sort of gender balance and finding the right cultures, the kitchen cultures that need to be in place. We didn't feel at that moment in time in the UK we were necessarily in.
Have we lost Alex?
The ideal thing to do, because the entire industry out from underneath their feet. Our industry had changed dramatically and without any warning. And we just felt that in actual fact, the UK and Ireland needed just someone to say it's okay not to be okay, and actually to start having conversations about mental health and mental well-being and what do we all need to survive, because the pandemic was unprecedented. And I don't think we should ever forget that word unprecedented and sort of brush it off, because everyone's life changed, and that's, everyone was impacted. So we felt that Fair Kitchens could play a huge part in supporting the mental health and well-being. And at the next step, we had this vision that we wanted to get to a point where a restaurant, a kitchen, an establishment could be almost rated, not just on how well you can cook a scallop or a piece of meat. It could also be rated on how well people treat their staff, because we've all seen certain celebrity chefs who've made a career out of screaming and shouting and bullying people and not treating people with the respect that they deserve. But do people really understand that culture is pretty much ingrained in the industry? And it's not everywhere, don't get me wrong. It's probably more prevalent in hotels and restaurants rather than in care homes or education or contract catering. But these are the sort of cues that chefs are brought up with, that they're trained with. So we wanted to get to a point where we could have a kite mark, so people could make a decision on where they eat, not just based on the quality of the food, but also the environment in which the staff were treated, which we thought was really, really important. But for me, there was a missing link, and that missing link was the leadership training. And the inspiration for this genuinely came from not this car, but from me. And we were sitting around and we were talking about it, and I'm like, I can't understand how we're going to get from A to B. There's got to be something in the middle where we can genuinely say people are making a change. And I look at my career and what training I was given, and I think it was, the intro at the beginning where, you were saying that people weren't given, chef training was almost an afterthought about how it could be done. And my career was, I was a commie. I was better at cooking. I got promoted to a chef de partie. I then got better at cooking. I became a sous chef. And then guess what? I was given a head chef's job because I can cook. None of those points lead to me being able to lead a team, to manage a team, to think about welfare, to understand my responsibilities as a owner of a business. So it became clear to me that I had some learning that I needed to do as well. And that's why I was really, really keen that we picked up on this leadership training and actually did something. So we created alongside some amazing people, and honestly, the list of people we got to work with us for absolutely no money at all is phenomenal. From Alan Rood Jr. through to Ruth Handsome, to Care UK, to Chris Galvin, inspirational leaders from the UK, not to mention the Craft Guild of Chefs, Off to Work, Hospitality Action, Westminster Kingsway College, and also the Culinary Institute of America. Everyone gave their time to build leadership training, to share best practice, to share what can happen in a restaurant when you invest, or in any establishment, from care home through to your recruitment. What happens when you invest time in people and you change your outlook? Because for me, we all know that this industry is leeching people. It loses so many people. And if we don't change what's happening at the top, we're never going to fix the hole at the bottom. So for me, I think the leaders play a key role. So leadership training is really all about sharing expert insight and real life examples and bringing it all to life. There are modules in there from self-awareness, resilience, communication, recruitment and onboarding, building a diverse talent and team, well-being and crisis management. So there's a whole host of content there that any leader should be looking at to help develop themselves to deal with those situations. And just to put it into context, I also struggle to find engaging things to do with my culinary team. So just last week, I took them away to Devon to actually look at foraging, fermenting, pickling as a team building exercise. Because what do we do to enrich our senior leaders in terms of culinary? There's very, very little we do. So for me, team building, building talent and team, keeping people engaged helps create an amazing environment in which we can all prosper. So that's a really, really brief overview of what Fair Kitchens is, what it's all about, and the leadership training. If I haven't mentioned it, it's completely free. So if you want to take a look at it, it's on our website, which is www.fairkitchens.com, or something very, very similar to that. So yeah, if you do want to look it up, please do. The only warning I would give you is the music is pretty bad on the videos. Okay, so that's the one bit of feedback I've got for you all, just if you are going to take on the training. But if you do have any questions for me, I'm here. Feel free to ask.
Can I just ask a quick one first of all, Alex? Is it is it over a set period of time? I think it's modular, is it? And the chefs choose to do it. It's all online, of course. Yeah.
Correct. So there's set modules. So there's self-awareness and resilience, the communication recruitment. Self-awareness and resilience and communication is module 1. Recruitment, onboarding, and building diverse talent and teams is module 2, and then well-being and crisis management is module 3. And at the back end of each of those things, there's a sort of survey monkey quiz question. But in actual fact, that's just sort of a tick box to say that you sat through it. There are self-motivated actions that you should take. So things like on the back end of the communications module is a Turbo 360 that was done with Gary Hunter at Westminster Kingsway College, which is all about getting feedback from your team in a really simple and dynamic way, where you can take on board feedback and make instant changes to your communication style. So yeah, it can all be done over a period of time. There's no time limit on it, but ultimately it's all about, with anything, I'm sorry to say, you guys all know this, but with training's valuable until the point that someone steps back into their role and what changes they're going to make. So this thing is all based on what actions are you going to take. And I think if you've logged onto the website and you've started that journey and you want to improve yourself as a leader, then you're already taking the right steps. But certainly the back end of all of the training is, what are you going to do differently? What are you going to think about how you're running your operation? How are you going to approach it differently?
And how is the feedback being from the chefs that have completed it? What, how do they feel about it?
Well, I did give you the warning about the music, so I feel completely open, honest and transparent about that. Generally, it's been absolutely fantastic. We've had feedback and endorsement from the Craft Guild of Chefs. We've had care caterers do it, and we've had restaurateurs do it. And for me, that sort of we wanted to make it accessible to all, and to have people of all different levels take it and say, yeah, do you know what, there's true value in what's there, has been invaluable to me. And you know, the other part I would say is, I always saw recruiters as a key part to this training, because when we look at businesses and our CSR policies and what we believe in and our values, etc., are we reflecting that in the way that we recruit, or are we just desperate to get people through the door? And if say, for example, you've got a big business that turns around, or a small business that has beliefs and values, could it not become part of the recruitment process? If you really care about developing, everyone can say the same thing. I care about my team. I do this, I do that. But in actual fact, there's very little we can do in terms of free training that's out there that you can share on the CV. And I always thought that this could be a great value add on the CV. Not only do they care about communication and teamwork, they've even done extra training on it. And that for me would separate out a candidate. If I was looking for a candidate moving forwards, I would look for a Fair Kitchens logo on their CV.
Yeah, definitely. What questions does anybody else have? DK?
Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, just in terms of practicalities, how long does each module take, just so you can sort of allow enough time for somebody to complete it?
Oh, very good question. Probably around. I'll be honest. I haven't done it since since it was completed. So it probably around 40 minutes to an hour for the totality for each. But then, as I said, the reflection pieces, they're things you need to take on after the fact.
Yeah.
So the thing that I feel is valuable is you can always re-access those videos and think about what's been spoken about, and actually sort of reevaluate what you might want to do moving forwards. So there's loads of great advice in there.
Brilliant, thanks.
And sorry, Alex, quick one. Is it suitable for different levels of chefs, would you say? So if you're an aspiring sous chef, for example?
There's absolutely no reason. You can think about how you're going to develop your own leadership style. So absolutely, we've had people at different levels do the course. I wouldn't suggest it's for a commis chef, chef de partie level, unless they're forward thinking. It depends at what age, what maturity they are at, because they're all valuable lessons and things that again, as I reflect on myself, I was never taught. So for me, there's value in there, no matter what level you are. It's been designed at the leaders because, as I said, I've got a real issue with the fact that we keep on talking about we've got to get more people in this industry, but we're not fixing what's already happening in the industry. So for me, the focus was always on the top end, because they're the ones that set the culture. They set the environment that everyone's going to be working in. So they were my target, as we would say. Sort of, if we can get them to sort of make some small changes, it's going to improve the welfare of everyone in the kitchen. So yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Is it all completely online, so they can go on any time or day?
Absolutely, 100% online, 100% free. The only thing is you have to fill in, of course, one of those data capture forms. Apart from that, that's the only thing. So it can be done over a period of weeks, or it can be done in one sitting.
Is there any plans to add to the sort of portfolio of courses material in the future?
Absolutely. So we've actually got a thing called UFS Academy, which we're working on as well, which is more directed to junior chefs. So anything from how do you poach an egg right the way through to the basics of food safety, so it can build up as part of a modular of training for them. We're also looking at how do we keep the movement fresh and vibrant and keep communications going on it, because it's so key. And we've got some. I was just talking to a couple of people who are taking the training now, and they are of all different levels within that operation. A small restaurant in London, and they said, "Oh, do you know what? We're going to put our head pastry chef on it and 2 commis chefs on there as well." So it's great to see that people are still using it and still finding value, because, you know, at the end of the day, the people who've given up their time and provided the advice on there, they're the leaders of this industry. And just hearing, you know, for me, spending time with Chris Galvin was amazing. His attitude, his ethos, his values, and then you watch him interact with his team. It's genuine. It's reflected in what he does and how he does it. And then you go, right, well, if that culture can be done in a Michelin star restaurant, there is absolutely no excuse for it existing anywhere. So, and you know, I've spoken to a restaurant I used to work in, 2 Michelin stars, and was renowned for being, you know, a bad environment to work in. And speaking to their exec chef now, the way that he's had to change the culture has taken a lot of work, effort, and energy. So it's vital that we're doing this. It's vital that we are switching the profile of what the industry is sort of. I think the characterization of the industry as being a tough place needs to change, and we need to evolve pretty quickly.
Thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, CK, yeah.
One final one. Have you got any plans to do any sort of face-to-face activity, you know, sort of events, or is that starts to get logistically tricky?
I mean, logistically, it's been tricky because we did all this during lockdown, and I guess we didn't know what we were coming back to as well. So I think we're all rediscovering what our jobs are a little bit. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to bring things together face to face. We would always look at what the opportunity is and see how we can support. But definitely, as things move forwards, the training is online, but certainly we're doing Fair Kitchens events around the country. We do talks, we do you know, various different team building events. So we will be looking to take ourselves out on the road.
What I'll do is I'll put all the details into our kind of chat group. So you've got the web link, and I think you've got Instagram pages and all that kind of stuff, haven't you? So and you've got a little, like, an elevator pitch that I presume I can share.
Yeah, certainly. If not, I've got one that I can send on to you. So
Okay.
yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alex. Yeah, that was great. And I'm going to, I think I've said before, we've got about 70 members in total. So I'm just going to stop the recording now, but make sure I share that link with everybody. So yeah,